Let's talk about the next steps and the road ahead. You know, we've gone through an energy crisis, we've gone through a food crisis, we are in the midst of a severe climate crisis at this point in time. Is there a growing acknowledgement of the problem, you know, whether it is at the enterprise level or it is at the government level? And how have you seen the attitude change? And what does that mean as far as Cropin is concerned specifically? You spoke about being available across 100 countries now. I mean, what could that number look like potentially from here on?
Yeah. So let me break this into three parts, right? So one is the enterprises, right? How they are seeing their supply chain. And when we are talking to them, one of the things coming very critically and in a loud voice is that, you know, our losses has increased from 2% to 8% over a period of time, right? And we are talking about the revenue losses. So if you are a $500 million company, you are talking about 40 million of losses just because of the climate change and the unpredictability of this whole supply chain, right? And that need to be addressed. When we are talking to the government, they are talking about building a resilient food ecosystem, food security at the for the country, and some of the work we are doing in Africa, we are also working in Sri Lanka right now, where we are looking at every farm in the country and building a trend for last 7 years because there is no data, right? So you have to run your AI models to first decode which crop has grown on those particular plots and then how it has been trending, what has the impact of the climate change or precipitation or soil moisture, and give them whether the high yielding areas are becoming low yielding areas or the crop acreages are shrinking, right? So you first build as intelligence so that they can take a next 5-year policy decision, whether it could be how should they roll out the subsidy on the fertilizers or the seed subsidies or irrigation subsidies, right? So you are acting on the data right now and supporting the top crops in the country. So in Africa, it's a corn, where we are working very, very extensively. Nigeria, we are working on the rice. Sri Lanka, we are working on the rice. India, we have been doing on multiple crops. So there is a acknowledgement of this whole, food security. And it is getting challenged because of the climate change, right? So which is putting a lot of pressure. And it's coming loud and clear. Development agencies, if you look at likes of World Bank, ADPC, Asia Disaster Preparedness Center, we are working with them, with the smallholder farmers in multiple countries where we have to provide advisory with the changing climate to the growers based on what crop they have taken so their livelihood can be not impacted, right? So they can secure the production and the right advice is going at the right time. For example, if you're doing a potato and tomorrow we see there is a chances of frost in the morning, so what actionable you can send to the growers so that they can secure the production, right? Or a disease space are getting built up for next 7 to 15 days, then how should you take care of those as well, right? So I think, the acknowledgement is across, right? And we are also seeing this impact. One of the number I would like to share with you, with 1 degree change in the temperature, it will bring the staple productivity by 15 to 25%. Now we want to double the production to feed 9.2 billion by 2050. But these are the headwinds, right? So one side you want to double the production, other side climate change is bringing down your productivity. Then that problem needs to be solved. And I think government is quite aware and they're also seeing how technology can be the forefront. And not only in India, but I'm talking about Africa, African nation and Southeast Asia where we are deployed. One of the important things which we did recently, we are working with Mexico with an organization called FIRA, like an ABAD, and they are building this whole farmer stack. And we are lighting up intelligence on every farm of Mexico, and right from geospatial data to climate data from last 40 years, and every possible data risk and opportunity. And that platform is getting leveraged to lend to the growers. And also providing advisory to from the climate change point of view or a disease point of view or a health point of view, right? And that's a national level, rollout. So I think governments are becoming very aware, and I think they are looking for technology to be adopted at the scale. And that partnership still need to evolve between the startups and the public and private sector. And I think that's. So yeah.
I would imagine that that's work in progress. But
Yeah.
you know, as you pointed out, all of this is essentially to ensure that we are less vulnerable to the kind of shocks and you know that we're facing at this point in time, and that's the essential purpose of Cropin, as well as what String Bio is also hoping to do. Ezhil, I want to talk to you about building a deep tech company out of India that's servicing the world. I mean, today you hold over 55 patents globally that cover biology, fermentation, engineering. You've been able to raise about $20 million. You've got some marquee investors on board. But, you know, for someone who's watching this and is looking at the possibility or has the aspiration of wanting to build a deep tech company out of India, what is the cheat sheet?
I wish there was one, actually, Shereen. I think it's, you know, like, I think the cheat sheet actually is, yeah, you know, technology is very interesting, right? But technology is only useful if you can really solve and bring value to the customers, to the market. And as Krishna just highlighted, today we have new problems that we haven't seen before, right? When you look at a farmer, we are telling him, hey, increase your crop productivity, increase your food production. Oh, by the way, I want you to also reduce your environmental footprint. Right, and this entire challenge of having to do this falls on the farmer. And I think that's where the power, you know, for example, with String, we've got solutions where we are able to solve exactly that, right? New age problems require those kind of interesting new age solutions, which will be able to then address both that. And ultimately, if you are able to show that value in the marketplace, therein lies the true value of the deep tech. So the way I see it is, even in the last 10 years that String has been in India, the ecosystem that is getting built for enabling deep tech companies out of India is going through a marquee change, right? So what was the environment 10 years back, and what is the environment today? There's a market change. And I think if more and more companies like String are able to show the value on the marketplace side, both in terms of the value to the customer, but also the value in terms of the to the shareholders and being able to build the business value. And I think therein we will be able to create a natural pool, more deep tech companies coming out of India, right? Because the problems that we're looking to solve today are not easy, are not small. Significantly large problems. And one thing that I would say is, I think these are also not problems that will be solved by single players. These will have to be solved by interesting collaborations, partnerships, not just within the private sector, but also between private and public sectors.
Absolutely, and you know, we're talking about population scale and being able to address that with the use of technology. But as you've heard there from Krishna and Ezhil, technology for the sake of technology is of no use or no consequence. It has to be able to address real lives and meaningful challenges. But Rahul, I want to come to you now and understand from you what the future looks like as far as you're concerned. You've, of course, got a string of enterprises that you're working with. You've been able to impact the lives of a number of people, but you're still fairly early in your journey. So what are the next few steps that you're prioritizing for NxtWave?
So again, if we were to look at India, at any point of time, we have close to 40 million students who are enrolled into higher education. And with government's efforts to improve the gross enrollment ratio, it is bound to grow to 70 million students in the next few years. And India has potential to become like the talent capital of the world. And today, all the stakeholders, including the governments, education institutions, and everyone, including students, realize that skills are more important than degrees. And that's where even government has set up National Skill Development Corporation under the leadership of Mr. Vedmani Tiwari, where NxtWave is also recognized as one of the partners in terms of driving the skill revolution within the country. And in the next 2 years, today we are at the scale of transforming thousands of students each year. But in the next 2 to 3 years down the line, we want to scale up to the level of transforming 1 million students each year, thereby transitioning the country from opportunity or potential to making it to become a technology leader, India to become the technology leader as well as become talent capital for the world. So that's where we are headed towards, Shereen.
Well, I'm going to close by asking each one of you to in a line, tell me what the vision is now for each of your companies and what the aspiration is that you're working towards. Ezhil, I'll start by asking you, for String Bio, what's the aspiration, what's the vision over the next decade?
So for us, as I mentioned, Shereen, we are in the phase of value extraction. So I would say our mantra today is execution, 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 to maximize our impact at scale, right? So as I said, our first facility coming up can cater to 10 million acres. That's 10 million tons of CO2 offset. In my mind, that's just the first step for us. We're looking to scale this up further to at least 2 other global facilities that can create even further impact. So that's the vision. And so ultimately, it is built technology, but technology that can create a real value on the ground for both our customers as well as our shareholders. So that's the vision and that's the impact we're looking to create.
Krishna, what's the vision for the decade?
I think the vision is, I'll keep it to very small. We want to secure the food security for the planet using technology, and we will go deep into that. And I think that's what we are aiming for. And I think in next 2-3 years, the short-term vision is to decode the future of top 13 crops, which provides 80% of the energy to the planet, right? So I think we are going very selective and very deep into those areas.
Well, Ezhil, Krishna and Rahul, we hope that you continue to go deep and wide, and we wish you the very best of luck with your future plans, and congratulations once again on the honor of being part of the World Economic Forum's Tech Pioneers cohort for 2024. It is, of course, a very coveted set of entrepreneurs that make that list, and congratulations for being part of the 10 startups that have made the list from India. Well, with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Young Turks. From all of us here on the program for now, many thanks for watching. Do stay tuned. There's a lot more coming up. We're back in a moment with more.